I just did, but auto start on. Stop streaming. I just did. Okay, hold on. I think we're good. Yep.
I'm looking it up. Do 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 do.
All right. I
I feel
think
like
I think we're good. Give me 2 seconds before we
oh,
officially.
I see us. I see us on the Twitter.
Oh, Twitter's good. Twitter's good.
That is a one. So if you're tuning in now, listening to us talk nonsense, we're just getting our ducks in a row. We'll be ready to go in just a moment.
Yeah, because something is all weird and goofy. Um,
Do 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 do. Well, when Jay's on it all, it's also smooth.
well, he uses something different as well. So I'm
Ah.
just trying to see if we're on Facebook. All
Not yet
right.
on the Facebook. Twitter always seems to be the first one to get going, which is funny because I never would have thought of Twitter as somewhere where I would go to watch videos.
Yeah, I
I'm just going to
agree.
show my pretty beer can then while we wait. I did post a little picture on the Instagram and the Facebook with a few beers and asked which one I should drink. And Patrick was the only one that responded, and he said the dinosaur one. So I'm drinking the dinosaur beer.
How do I?
Review changes to your page. Could that be why?
No.
Okay. I
Hold
know
on.
nothing.
Gonna end stream. Hold on. I don't know why it's not giving me the option. I don't know why it's not giving me the option to do anything.
Let me see if it's on what's going on with YouTube.
It's everything
Twitter
just.
always seems to be the best one. It's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what the beef is. It's not going anywhere.
Oh, I see it's on YouTube.
So YouTube's there.
And
Facebook,
then
it's
and then
not.
we went away.
We're back.
Facebook was the only one it wasn't, but it looked like
We should be
we were
back.
on YouTube and Twitter.
We should be back everywhere
Guess
now.
who's back?
Sorry, everybody.
Shady's back.
Nothing works as intended, right?
Everything is awesome.
Yeah, we're
All right, well then I'm gonna start saying what beer I'm drinking.
all right. Yeah, all right. I guess we're live again. Whatever. Welcome to Hops News. Sorry about that. We are technical difficulties. Whatever. Let's just drink a beer, talk some beer news. That's what we're
Please
doing here. So
stand
we're
by.
back in the saddle, talking a little beer news. We got some things to go over. It's Groundhog's Day. So Lauren, why don't you kick us off with what beer you're drinking?
Okie dokie. I am drinking a dinosaur beer, and it looks like a dinosaur in space. So I am drinking it out of my Let's Get Wibbly Wobbly cup because if you're a Doctor Who fan, he's not on a spaceship, but I assume that he got to space via a spaceship. So it's dinosaurs and a
That's fair.
spaceship. It is called Jurassic Planet. It is a triple IPA at 10% from Dream State Brewing. I
Dream
have never heard of
on.
this brewery. I don't even know where this brewery is,
I don't either. So
but it's pretty good. It is very citrusy. You can see it's very thick, very pretty. It's good. I feel like it's going to get stronger as it warms up. It's one of those. I can tell. I
oh
can feel
yeah,
it coming.
right on. That makes sense. I meanwhile I'm over here. I'm drinking Treehouse. I got Treehouse Tiny Treat.
Treehouse. Oh, does it have tiny little lollipops on it?
It does. I got Tiny
Ooh.
Treat. So this is from Robbie, but I'll get to something in a second. So Tiny Treat is an American pale ale entry into the beloved Treat series of pale hoppy beers. Brewed to have a sweet base and hopped generously with juicy American hops, it carries potent notes of orange candy, mango gummies, and tropical fruit bubblegum. Sacrificing nothing in flavor, texture, or stature in spite of lower alcohol content, Tiny Treat is the ideal beverage to enjoy on a weeknight or during an extended session with friends and family alike. So this is a 5.4% ABV American Pale Ale, and it's brewed in Charlton, Massachusetts. Treehouse. They have a lot of venues now. They've expanded exponentially, and as
Yeah.
of recently, their Tewksbury location, which is literally right down the road from my parents' house, I'll be going in March, has just opened up for in-house beers. Before it was to-go beers only. Well, good news is you can actually drink at the tap room now there, which is pretty rad. So if you're in that area, You got options. You don't have to go out to Western Mass only now. You can go to Sandwich, which is on the Cape. You can go to Tewksbury, which is kind of near Boston. And then you could always go out to Charlton, the OG, if you will. So that's pretty exciting. I actually haven't even tasted it yet. Jesus.
You've just been talking about it. It
I
looks
was.
amazing and sounds amazing.
It does. So Treat is one of my favorite runs of beer by Treehouse. And Super Treat is a really good one. This one, it tastes like candy. It actually has that aftertaste that you can taste the gummies that they're talking about in the orange. A lot of flavor to it. It's really light and crisp, for an American Pale Ale. And the color, the body, everything, smooth drinker. I even have it in my Treehouse glass, but yeah, no, it's wicked good. Get your hands on this one. And yeah, that said, Hops News, welcome back. We've been hit or miss just because of life, right? Life is getting back to how things were. So go ahead, Hops News on any social media platform. That's where we're at. Go check us out on YouTube, Hops News, and we're going to come back with some beer news. But first things first, it is Groundhog's Day. Apparently that stupid groundhog saw his shadow, so there's like 6 more weeks of winter.
One did and one didn't.
Well,
so it depends on which one do you believe.
Oh, I don't know, but the Canadian one died like an hour before it was supposed to go out and do its thing in Canada. That one died, which is kind of funny.
This year?
Funny. Yeah, this morning it died.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's not funny, but it is kind of funny, right? So depending on what you believe, but this leads me to my important question. If you were stuck in a time loop or a Groundhog's Day, if you will, Bill Murray, what is the beer or beers that would be your Groundhog's Day beer?
For me?
Yeah. Well, what would yours, like if oh God, I have this on repeat. Oh no, here I go. What would it be?
For a second, I thought you meant the video was looping and we had to start over.
No. Talking about like what would your Groundhog's Day be?
I mean, I feel like anybody who's listened to us at least 5 times probably knows that it would be Tripping Animals or Tactical. So if I had to pick one single one, it's so hard because so many of these breweries also now they're like, oh, this is the same beer as last year, but we use different hops. And I'm like, well, now it's not the same beer. It's a little bit different. So it makes it a little bit harder to choose. But what I'm going to choose is Tactical Brewing's Double New England IPA called Ghost Blimp that they release every Halloween.
Ghost Blimp, that's a good one. Mine would probably be something from Definitive Brewing, honestly. Their IPA Conti, or it's not Conti, I forget the name off the top of my head. I'm having all sorts of technical difficulties over here. But that would be my go-to, I would have to say. Or I would do ooh, that's a good one. What's another one that I would do? You know what? I would honestly probably go Super Treat from Treehouse.
You didn't say we get to pick more than one.
I've changed my answer to Super Treat from Treehouse. That would be mine.
The one you're drinking right now?
No, this is Tiny Treat. Get it right.
Tiny Treat. Okay. I knew it sounded similar, but a little off.
No, I would do Super Treat because it is wicked, wicked good. There you go. That's
yes,
my final
and
answer.
I should be up there this summer. Finally visiting Treehouse. That's still a bucket list.
Can't believe you would go there when I'm not even going to be there. It's so disrespectful, but
because I didn't tell you beforehand.
It's disrespectful, but
I'm sorry. I'm a very disrespectful person.
Unreal. Well, what
all right.
Let's go to some news. What kind of news do we got? What's happening in the beer? What's the hot goss?
I don't know when this happened, but it's recently become like a trend on TikTok where there's some news clip and it says there's a new study that says people who like IPAs and dark coffee are more likely to be mentally unstable and want to hurt people.
All right. Well, that explains a lot.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. So I've seen a lot of people doing, duetting the video. I duetted the video in my TikTok account. But yeah, it was funny. One guy commented on my video. I literally just duetted it and I showed pictures of my beer fridge with my IPAs in my beer fridge. And some guy goes, I love IPAs and I'm completely mentally stable and I'll fucking kill whoever says I'm not.
That's called satire, folks.
Yeah, it made me laugh aloud.
Woohoo!
Gotta love it.
Yeah, no, that explains a lot. So we're all a little unstable, right? To a degree.
We're all mad here.
I feel like.
Well, if somebody's too mentally stable, that means beware. They're hiding
Mm,
something.
for sure, especially if they have kids. Nobody's life's that perfect. Also, I will tell you though, something that is perfect, something is perfect is Maine-based brewery Allagash Brewing Company has teamed up with black-owned Crowns and Hops Brewing Company out of Southern California to create a new beer that combines the best of both breweries. Cure 8, the number 8, see what we did there, folks, is a hybrid between a Pilsner and a barrel-aged triple. Specifically, it's a marriage between the crisp, of Crowns and Hops 8 Trill Pills and the bourbon-inspired flavors of Allagash Curo. Man,
Wow.
I think I said that right, but
Curieux. Yeah, I'm going to say
I
yeah.
think I did. But yeah, so East Coast, West Coast, baby. Who says they couldn't put aside their differences and make things happen? And that's what they're doing. And Allagash is heavy hitter. I'm going to be hitting that one up in March as well. I can't wait.
I'll be hitting that one up this summer.
Well, I did it first.
Well, you're from up there. That's fine. I'll allow it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. What else do we got? What else we got?
Anything more?
No, that was
If
it.
you're in oh,
That
okay.
was it.
If you're in Orlando, Rotary Beer Fest will be April 15th at Avalon Park from 4 to 7. I've gone to that beer fest before. It is an amazing one. It's usually a very low key one, but has some great breweries too. So I highly recommend that. I will be at Tortuga though, so I will not be going.
Ooh.
This piece of news I thought was actually kind of cool. We're just seeing more of these schools doing these brewing programs, which I think is awesome. So, Blue and Gold Brewing LLC is a student run business venture that was launched as part of an undergraduate applied learning program at Marquette University's College of Business Administration. It unveiled a 77 Golden Ale to be released and sold on National Marquette Day, which is this Saturday. This private label, Marquette affiliated beer, is the product of a collab with the alumni brewing leaders from Broken Bat Brewing, Gathering Place Brewing Company, and Good City Brewing. Revenue from the product will be split among the student run venture and the participating breweries, with proceeds benefiting Marquette student run programs. So I thought it was pretty cool. You know, you're teaching the kids how to properly, because it's not just about brewing beer, it's also about running a business. And look
Yeah,
at
oh
that, it's
yeah.
under their business administration program. So I thought that was really cool. The beer will be sold on National Marquette Day at Fiserv Forum and Al McGuire Center and in the Good City Gathering Place and Broken Bat tap rooms. The beer will also be offered at some private Marquette alumni events the day of the Mecca and RWB Milwaukee. Limited retail availability is expected soon.
Ooh,
So if you're
that's
in the
cool.
Milwaukee area, keep your eyes
Milwaukee.
peeled.
Why'd you say you said it so weird? Milwaukee.
It's actually pronounced Milwaukee. You've never seen
Milwaukee.
Wayne?
I
You've never
thought you were.
seen Wayne's World?
It's been a long time.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Well, it's been a long time. It's been a while. But hey, we're live on Facebook now. So if you're just joining us over there, just want to say heads up. Uh, technical difficulties. It's been a while. Facebook fucked everything up. I'm drinking Tiny Treat from Treehouse. Lauren, what are you drinking one more time for the people at home?
Triple IPA from Dream State Brewing called Jurassic Planet.
Ow! And also, let us know in the comments what your beer of choice would be if you got stuck in a Groundhog's Day loop and there's only one beer that you could drink on a loop. Let us know in the comments what it is. I'm going to move on. You know, this is New England dominated centric news this evening because, you know, the world actually does revolve around New England, believe it or not. And with that said, heavy hitter and longtime beer producer Samuel Adams, you might have heard of him in the Revolutionary War, is they're going to be remastering their Boston Lager. And this comes because pretty much the sales drop of Sam Adams Boston Lager equates to being like the 40th biggest brewery in the country with how much they've lost. So they're claiming it has more to do with perfecting the process than it does actually changing the recipe. But as you can see, Fat Tire has now shaken things up. Sam Adams is now shaking things up. Even the big guys are struggling out there, right? As we know, there's a lot of people just aren't as into alcohol lately these days, if you will. And so yeah, I mean, I like to cook.
January's over though.
Thank God. Yeah, I did dry January. That was hard, only because like just having a beer once. I'm not an alcoholic, but I just wanted to have a beer once in a while. That would have been nice. And
Patrick
I
said his groundhog beer would be Spaten Lager. Sorry,
oh,
that's a good
interesting.
one. I
Yeah.
mean, German beer. I mean, that's the way. Yeah, can't go wrong there.
Speaking of German beer, I saw Annie was a brewitch. She was in a brewery doing some shit. She had gloves on, doing all sorts of stuff on her Instagram. So I hope
Oh,
maybe she broke into the industry somewhere out there and her adventures. Miss her, love her, long time. And oh, is that like a?
yeah, we
That
haven't
looks like
heard
a
from her.
Godzilla T Rex, like a robot T Rex.
Well, yeah, he's kind of like a transformer, I would guess, because he looks like a robot, but he's
Robots
in space.
in disguise.
But his tongue looks real, so maybe it is an astronaut
What if
suit.
he's like
I don't know.
cyborg?
Yeah, maybe like cyborg, because it looks like a real
Weird.
tongue. It's not yeah.
Weird. All right. Well, you guys want to go up north to the greatest country in the whole world, Canada? Because I do.
Canada, eh?
And a craft beer shop in Canada had a ton of beer explode recently because it froze. Believe it or not. They said it was probably a faulty part. They posted a picture of a can split in half, sign on front door. Sorry, folks. We had a major incident last night with our beer fridge. It froze and exploded nearly every beer on the shelf. That's a brutal loss. Brutal.
Yeah.
Like, that sucks. Because, Canada gets cold. However, beer can actually freeze and explode as seen here. It was a brewery up in Calgary, so if you can get up there and support the homies and you happen to be for some reason listening to this show, go ahead and please get to them. The Alberta Beer Exchange is the name of that brewery. Go visit them, help them recoup their losses, and yeah.
So, do you like root beer?
I don't drink soda, but I used to.
So, root beer is one of the things that are actually going up. So, root beer
What?
and low ABV cocktails. So, the market is growing for that. I think people are just kind of, this is my own personal opinion, is that in 2020, we all just started drinking more. And I think now people are trying to find ways to just
Be
enjoy
healthy.
beverages that aren't alcohol. Yeah, this is not get cirrhosis of the liver. It's a good goal. Um, so I mean, but root beer, I mean, that's and cocktails. I mean, you don't want to replace it with sugar though. That's just one bad thing with the other.
Right.
But hey, if you got to cut it down, I mean, an occasional root beer. Just
I
don't buy the ones with high fructose corn syrup.
guess.
But well, more breweries are doing it too. So it's not just like they're going out and just buying, A&W root beer. 1010 used to actually make their own root beer, and I bought it once when I was pregnant, and I was able to check it in on Untapped, and I was very excited because I hadn't checked anything on Untapped in months. And it was
Uh,
very sweet and smooth, and then they just stopped making it. I think they said that the people that were working there were drinking too much of it.
oh my god.
I believe that's what they said. I just remember laughing at the reason that they stopped selling it because one of my kids had wanted it the next time we were there. But I thought that was interesting. So if anybody's trying to cut back on alcohol and they don't just want to drink water, I'm curious to see how
Orange
they are
juice.
replacing that or what people did. So when I was in New York last week and one of the people we were with was doing dry January, and everywhere we went, she had some sort of fun cocktail or non-alcoholic beer. Even at other half, they had non-alcoholic options. So she always had something fun to drink, and I thought that was pretty cool.
No, I agree. I think one of the big things that we're doing now as breweries that we've seen is the market of non-alcoholic beers making its way onto taps or at least cans like Athletic and Well-Being. I predominantly see Athletic, but a lot of breweries are bringing
Yeah,
in the non, which is
everywhere.
awesome because then if you're a DD and still want to be social in that aspect, you get it. It makes you feel like you're drinking a beer, and not everybody drinks, but people want to go do trivia, and predominantly where trivia nights are held are breweries, and so you can drink a good non-alcoholic beer, play some trivia, and have fun. And so, good idea. I wish I had more of those options when I was doing dry January, but I'll
Right.
live. I
So
lived, bitch.
since we're speaking of non-alcoholic beer, I did come across an article because these brewers are also still finding ways to make the non-alcoholic beer taste like beer, taste
Yep.
good. Because I've had non-alcoholic beer in the past, like when I was nursing my
Tasted
kid
like
or something, I wanted
ass.
another beer. It wasn't even worth it. I just have water. So for a beer to be labeled non-alcoholic, federal law requires it to have less than 0.5% by volume. So non-alcoholic brewers have many methods to try and reach that goal, from tweaking how they use yeast and grains to actually extracting alcohol through a vacuum evaporation. So these are some one of the quotes one of the brewers who's making non-alcoholic beer said in this article. I think What's most successful is that we're able to lower the pressure and the temperature of the beer in order to make alcohol sort of evaporate off.
Oh,
So the water boils at lower temperatures and low pressure settings, and brewers are using the same principle to remove ethanol, the form of alcohol in beer, without using as much heat. So ethanol normally boils at 173 degrees Fahrenheit, but under vacuum pressure, they're saying it can actually evaporate off at about 20 degrees Celsius or 68 degrees Fahrenheit.
weird.
So, yeah, here's another quote. What that's doing basically is preserving the beer, because if there's two things that are beer's enemy, it's heat and oxygen. Other methods include reducing fermentation so alcohol is never actually formed.
Hmm.
If the yeast is unable to digest maltose, it's unable to create ethanol. There you go. And there are some really cool products out there too that they're able to kind of pull the alcohol from.
Well, the more you know. The more you know.
The more you know.
Let's go down real quick, Forbes. So you being in Orlando, me being in Boise, let's roll down the Forbes article on the 5 best cities in Orlando for beer, because you guys just recently had Orlando, or yeah, it was Orlando Craft Beer Week or whatever it was, or is it Florida Beer Week? Whichever it was, you just did.
It was Orlando Beer Week.
Orlando.
I don't know if we have. Maybe we do a Florida Beer Week. It was Orlando Beer Week.
Well,
Tampa Beer Week's in March.
Oh, you
They all
guys
have
do.
different-
That's weird, because usually states do like March. I'm barely gonna miss out. Massachusetts Beer Week. It's the beginning of March, and then New Hampshire's I think is right around the same time. But
those are
yeah,
all little states.
that's fair. So what? Hey, you know
They were
what?
pretty big.
Take that back.
Well, it's so funny in planning my New England summer trip. I'm like putting in like the hours, and I'm like, I can drive through 4 states in 3 hours. Like I can't even get to Miami in 3 hours. I can
tried
get to Fort
telling
Lauderdale
you.
in 3.
We would take day
But
trips
yeah.
to Vermont all the time. I tried telling you, like you go up to Maine for the day from Massachusetts. Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, I was in Rhode Island a few years ago because I have relatives there, and I think we like took a wrong turn, and all of a sudden we were in Connecticut. I'm like, well, we're in Connecticut. How long did we
What?
go the wrong way?
Yeah. No, you 2 seconds. 2 seconds. But
But a lot. Sorry, before
no,
then I'm
you're
going to
good.
shut the hell up.
Go ahead.
So a lot of the breweries, though, it's like a Hunapoo Day, I think is what kicked off like Tampa Bay Beer Week, and because they always release Hunapoo that week. And then I'm guessing Orlando started it in January because of Dry January. But I do think we have a Florida Beer Week, but I think a lot of the areas do more so small ones, because then you have these other areas kind of supporting. Like there were breweries in Miami that came up during Orlando Beer Week for like another beer fest.
Right. Okay. Well,
So
you
support each
actually
other.
don't
throughout.
have a specific Florida Beer Week.
Oh, okay, then we
I
don't.
just looked it up. Yeah. So the first Saturday of March is Tampa Bay Beer Week, which starts on the first Saturday of March. You have Orlando Beer Week. And yeah, so I'm looking right now at the Florida Brewers Guild, and there's nothing that says Florida Beer Week. That's crazy. You do just have there's a craft beer festival Saturday, March 4th, but that's interesting. You guys might be like one of the only states that don't have like a specific beer week. That's interesting. I'm very curious as to why that is.
Well, then we can travel. People like going to Tampa for that beer week is huge. Like that's like a big deal, because especially because Hunapoo put Florida on the map with Cigar City Brewing. Like that's their like
Right.
beer that it used to be a whale. Now now they're bigger owned, and it's not as difficult to get.
Well,
but yeah, so that way people from Miami can come to Tampa Bay Beer Week, and
Idaho does
vice
a
versa.
craft beer month, which is April, and they're actually getting ready to do Destination Beer in a couple weeks up at McCall, which is a beautiful area. If you've never been, it's in the mountains. It's beautiful as can be. And it's like 2 days. There's 40 plus breweries, and I really want to go, but I don't think it's going to happen. However, that would be like the dopest thing ever, just to go up and pour beer, drink beer for 2 straight days in McCall, Idaho. But yeah, Idaho does a craft beer month, which is some people do a week. Idaho does a month because there's a lot to celebrate and show your stuff, right? Why not? And on the subject of, Florida, so they rank Tampa, Fort Myers, Orlando, and Miami as
and Jacksonville.
Oh, there's Jacksonville. Sorry, and Jacksonville as the top 5 cities for beer. So beer production, nope. Sorry, that got put in my notes
I
wrong.
done fucked up. Ignore that. Yeah.
I got thrown
That was
off. No,
something
but
else.
so yeah, the best Jacksonville actually is a low key, very good brew town. I used to go up there a lot. Orlando, obviously, people don't really realize, but having been there, there's a ton there. Haven't really hit up Tampa for breweries or Fort Myers, but yeah, that's pretty rad.
I haven't done Fort Myers, which I need to, because Fort Myers is, that's on the West Coast and
It's where
it's
the
south
Sox
of
do spring training, dude.
Sarasota. Honestly, I mean, there are obviously it's not all old people, but generally you go
Yes, it
there
is.
for a vacation or you go there to visit somebody's grandma,
Everybody,
and that's
yes,
that.
it's all old people. Don't let her fool you. It's all old people.
But if they have a good craft beer scene, there's clearly a younger audience as well. I have not
Perhaps.
been. There is a college there actually, and we've talked about them. Florida Gulf Coast University is there, and they actually do have a brewing program. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is a definite connection to those two things happening.
I
I
respect
have
it.
not. In my senior year of high school, my boyfriend actually was going to Florida Gulf Coast, so I got to go there a couple times when they first opened. I don't think I've been over there since, and that was
There's no
20
reason
years ago.
to.
Right.
No, that
Once
makes
we
sense.
broke up, I never went back.
Oh, this reminds me.
But yeah, I need to get over there for beer.
I'm going to be hitting up some Boise breweries soon, but this reminds me that Woodland Empire actually last night said that they were looking for a new trivia host, and I'm just saying, like, let me know what's up, because I dabbles in the trivias and no big deal, but I had 100 people at trivia night
Something
the
of
other
a
night for
trivia
Disney,
host
so
yourself.
if
How did you use any of my questions?
I did use some of them because I did like a parks knowledge one for the first round, and then the rest were movies and songs. So I did, and people enjoyed
How
it.
did the Idahoans do on the
There was
park
some.
stuff?
They did. There was one team that was getting them all right. There were some fiends. Trust me. Well, you gotta
Nice.
think it's on a military base. They're from all over. So,
I'm
and
always
that's.
curious how that works.
I've been meeting a lot of people that have been moving from Florida, not by choice, to here recently, which is kind of funny. So I wonder if they're like, okay, you've been in Florida long enough, now you get to go to the other extreme, which is Idaho. But
Just to be across the country.
apparently, I don't know. Anyways, though, why don't you tell us whatever Catarvine is? I've never heard of this.
Hattervine. So neither had I. So it's not really news. It's more a mini beer school and a beer article I came across. So it's
Hit
called
us.
Cattervine. So when your beer smells like dead people, I've never smelled
Oh,
a beer and been like, "Ooh, this smells like a dead person." It doesn't
hold
have to be
on.
a person. 'Cause I
This reminds me. I did not mean to interject. I'm so sorry, but Chris from the Geek Peak podcast was at a brewery this weekend, and there was a brewery he went to, and the flavor profiles they had listed, one of the flavor profiles was cat piss.
Yeah, I've seen that before. I don't
What?
understand that. I've never. It's under like the category of like dank.
Cat piss?
I
I don't know.
believe so. I've seen and or heard it
I don't
before.
know.
I
Anyways.
remember years ago getting that aroma from a beer and being like, I'm not understanding this, and I'm an IPA fan. So I thought that ship had sailed,
Yeah,
but
I
I
don't know
guess the
about all
cat's out of the
that.
bag.
Haha.
Yeah.
Hee hee. Ho ho.
So Catervine is actually a potamine formed in the decay of animal proteins after death, but lactic acid bacteria can cause Catervine in beer. So
Oh.
if you've ever smelled a dead animal, because I've never smelled a dead
I don't go
person, but I have
around
smelled a dead animal.
smelling dead things. Can't say I do.
Nope, not a fan. It can maybe happen in sour beer production where bacteria strains can be incorrectly applied or in spontaneously fermented beer that rely on wild yeast and bacteria to ferment the beer.
Hmm.
Conventional brewing yeast, though, they won't actually produce this. It's something most craft beerers won't ever need to worry about, but if you're using wild yeast, there is the rare possibility.
Interesting. All
I just
right.
thought it was interesting and a term I had never heard
That is
before.
fun. That is fun. Yeah. Well, that's kind of all the beer news that we have tonight. Um, I do have to work, unfortunately, tonight, so we're gonna go ahead and probably wrap this one up a little early. Do a little short 30-minute episode. I apologize. Hopefully next week we'll be back with a full episode, and I'm looking maybe we might do a Fat Tire rebranding tasting next week, by chance. Hopefully, maybe. I think we should, but yeah, go ahead, find us on Hops News, subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all of those locations. Make sure you find us. And again, sorry for the shorter episode. I do have to work tonight and all of that good stuff. So until next week,
Yes,
have
so
some good
follow
beer.
everything on Hops News and Hops Geek News.
Yes, make sure you follow us at Hops Geek News, where we're doing lots of cool stuff. I might have just locked in the drummer of one of my favorite bands. We might have the creator from The Boys on here at some point soon. I've been working that. So lots of good things coming down the pipe. Follow us, subscribe on both locations. Corey, hey, it's a short episode. Sorry you joined late. I got to head off to work here shortly, but we will be back next week, possibly with a Fat Tire Night. We'll see you guys next week.